Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. Solving people's problems is extremely lucrative. Now, or maybe even say that a different way, solving people's hard to solve or difficult problems is extremely lucrative, right? So today, those of you that are here for the first time, my name is Wade Vincent, and thank you for being here on Forever Better Academy podcast. Find a need, fill a need, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's really around learning, and that is a skill set like anything else, is understanding how to identify a need or an opportunity or a gap in the market that you can take advantage of and fill that need, right? It's really a simple two-step process, right? So, and this is really how to make yourself valuable and extremely wealthy in the process, right? So every job that I have ever had in my life from when I was younger was really a job that anybody could do, right? So my very, very first job ever was working at a petrol station, or for those in America, a gas station. I was working in high school, and I'd do my school Monday to Friday, and then Friday and Saturday nights in my senior year, I would do graveyard shifts. So I'd finish school, go home, have something to eat, and sleep for a couple of hours, and get up and start work at 10 o'clock at night, and then finish at like 6, 7 in the morning, and then sleep all day. As you probably have guessed, this was not conducive to a great result on my studies and education in my senior year. I basically worked all those horrible hours in the weekends and did no study, and subsequently failed. Not failed, like I didn't pass with flying colors, let's say. I didn't flunk out of everything, but in Australia at the time, we had an overall position system. 1 being the highest, 25 being the lowest, and I think I got like a 21, so almost bottom of the barrel, right? Anyway, painting the picture, right? So from there, got a job working at Domino's Pizza, making pizzas. Like anyone can do that, right? You don't even have to have an IQ over 80 to do that. I got jobs. What did I do after that? I think that's for a while I just was trying to find work, and then got my apprenticeship as a chef. Again, it's an apprenticeship. You're there to learn, so virtually anyone who can show up can do that job. And then I drove trucks for maybe 10 years. You just get a license. I did furniture removal, packed shipping containers, just very, very focused around manual labor and using my strength and body and that ability, rather than any sort of mental capacity or using my smarts or creativity, right? Just straight manual labor focused on the output that I could do by lifting things and moving things, right? So these jobs, right, and in that, I was easily replaceable, right? And that's a key thing, because if you don't really think through that if you're easily replaceable, it means that whatever skill set you possess, even if it's one that's not highly sought after or extremely specialized, it means that there's a lot of people that can do it. If you quit or get fired or get hurt or pass away, virtually that afternoon there'll be someone new in that role, right? That's that kind of role. So these jobs don't solve hard problems, right? When I was a delivery driver, as a courier, I would take a box from a conveyor belt, put it in the back of a truck, Then I'd read a piece of paper that told me where to drive. I'd go there, take the box out of the truck, and put it on a bench at another location. Like, those are not hard jobs, right? They're hard in the sense of physically demanding when there's like high volumes of work and you've got so much pressure on you to run all day and move, go, 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 go. But there's no, you're not solving complex problems, right? And now, to make a point, I'm proud of everything that I did that has led me to where I am, and gone through those steps and those milestones to understand and value and appreciate the growth and learning that I've done since then. And by no means do I look down on anyone who does that work. Those jobs put food on my table and fed my family and kept us with a roof over our head for many, many years. But to demonstrate the point, and in today's discussion, right? So we're talking about finding that need and filling a need, right? So I was like, pretty much like any father or any parent, right, is really wanting to find a way to generate a good quality, reliable income stream for my family, because I want to secure our future and provide opportunities for our children and for ourselves, right, as adults, because those opportunities, they don't just stop. There's more things you can experience in life, even if you have children, right? So when you have a skill set that's very much like the saying, a dime a dozen, right? When you have a skill set that's a dime a dozen, you are not very sought after, right? And the reason is, when you're basically competing, right? So whether you like to admit it or not, or whether you like to acknowledge it or not, we are all in competition, right? And on a side note, this is why this whole play for fun, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, it's not helpful or healthy. Trust me, it doesn't teach you the true value. Whether you like it or not, you're competing. And those people who feel that just do this for fun and you're not out to win, then why do we keep score, right? In sport, why keep score if it doesn't matter who wins or loses, right? Why do we have championships? Why do we have competition? So it's foolish, right? Those people that say that aren't in the game. You're already ahead of them. They're not even competing. They don't even realize that they're competing. So whether they like to acknowledge it or not, right? We're in a competition. It's the law of nature. There's competition for resources, survival of the fittest, the animal kingdom. It's how the universe is structured, and the systems that continue to go along with or without us, right? And we're a part of that system. So when you're in you're basically competing for resources, right? So you're in this massive pool of people competing for a very small pool of resources, right? So there was endless contractors and guys that could step in any day of the week that had a truck license that could take my job, right? And as such, because if you look from the perspective of the employer, because you're easily replaceable, they don't have to pay you very well. They can bring the price down and find that balance that works for them, that people are prepared to take that job at, right? So let's say, let's say, using myself as an example, if I was not prepared to drive a truck for $20 an hour and that was my limit, but there's such a big pool of people that are capable of doing that job and looking for that job and able to fill that job, and there's people out there that are willing to do it for $15 an hour, that the employer goes, well, if I have abundance of choice of people who can fill this role, why would I pay extra? Right? I'm here as a business. I'm here to make money. I'm here to cut my costs and run efficiently. And that's the nature of a business, right? So if there's an abundance of people that can take your role, it brings the price down that you are basically remunerated for those skills, right? So you actually are competing with more people for less resources, right? So that's a massive red flag. You're in too much of a competition in that sense, right? So that was a massive challenge that I faced in that situation, because the only way that I could earn more money when I was driving trucks or as a chef um, was sell my time, right? Work overtime. I was literally selling my life away. Like I was trading my time. There was a time where I would get up and get to work, and I'd be driving a truck at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, right before my kids had woke up. So I wouldn't see my kids in the morning. They wouldn't see me. There was no good morning dad. There was no breakfast together. And then I'd go to work. I'd work physically demanding and hard, like strenuous work all day, and then I'd come home late. And especially when my kids were little, if I was working 12 and 14-hour days and coming home at like 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, there was times when my partner was pregnant, and when she was pregnant with our first son, and I was doing furniture removal, and she was home alone, like just no one to help her. It was just her, right? We didn't have a big family around. It was just her on her own, pregnant. And there's times when I'd be home at 11 o'clock at night, like finishing work, just ridiculous hours trying to make money for us, right? And it takes its toll, right? You can only do that for so long. You can't, there was guys that were doing that that were struggling, and they're hurting old bodies, man, at 60 doing those kind of jobs. I feel for those guys, right? It's not easy, at that point. Your body starts to it's not operating at its best. And I was losing, well, I was trading that time with my family, right? And that's another thing you don't realize. You're selling your time to to provide for a family, yet you're never there for the family, right? Like there was times where the kids wouldn't see me. I'd be gone before they woke up, and I'd get back and they were already in bed asleep. I miss so much, right? I miss so much of the those early years with the boys. And it was, the hardest part was I felt like I wasn't good at anything, right? So I spent my entire youth. If you've ever listened to any of the previous episodes, or my background, and when I was doing this work, I was chasing a dream of being a professional rapper and being in music, and I was creating music, and we're doing tours and video clips, and performing with international artists, and releasing albums, and like trying to make it happen, right? And I spent my entire youth getting good at rapping, right? And this is not a highly sought after skill, right? And I guess you say what what I'd learnt to master to some degree. I spent like at least 15 years, working on my craft and skill set, like every day, just creating music, writing songs, performing all the time. That's all we did, right? Outside of like working and trying to get through those long days, and be some shape of a father or a husband, and then go perform late at night, and do it all again, right? What I was good at, being like rap music and performing, didn't feel a need, right? There's not a huge demand. Like, for those of you that maybe, if you haven't picked up, my accent is Australian, so there's not a massive market like the States for rap, and there's a small market here, but very few people live off it as a career, and those that do aren't making money like they are in the States. It's not the same size market, right? So what I was good at didn't fill a need. So I spent so much of my youth developing this skill set, or mastering something that I was extremely passionate about, and saw it as my opportunity to make an impact on the world. But I hadn't had the experience and life experience and time to go through and understand that this wasn't a sought after skill, right? It wasn't a good way, or good use of my time to develop that skill set as much as I did. Now, it's easy to look back and see that, but at the time, right, obviously, you have a dream, you have ambition, that's your desire, and I don't discourage anyone for chasing their dream, but I think it's important to really, when you niche it down, you can most certainly do anything that you want in the world, provided somebody wants that thing that you want to do. Right? And you can do it, but you'll probably never make a living off it. And if that makes you happy, power to you. And most certainly, you do what makes you happy. That's what life's about, right? You've got to feel that happiness and sense of purpose, and chase those dreams, right? Now, for me, I wouldn't necessarily change anything, because everything has led me to this point here. But ultimately, I hadn't yet developed a skill set required to solve people's problems, or people's more complex and challenging problems, right? So what I'd focus on improving myself on being, writing rap music and poetry and structuring out song lyrics and performing wasn't moving me forward, because again, that was almost the opposite side of the spectrum, where it was a small pool of people that were really good at it in this country, with smaller resources to be rewarded with, or for us to compete for or fight over. So I went from having no valuable skill set that set me apart in a pool with resources that were very limited, to a small pool of people who were very good at what they did, and it wasn't as sought after. So there was an even smaller pool of resources to be shared around, right? It's crazy. So ultimately, what that leads me to, when I go through that and experience that, because nothing teaches like firsthand experience, right? It's all well and good to read about it and go through stories from other people, and they most certainly help, but it definitely you definitely get the lesson, right, when you go through it in your life. And the sort of the realization that I ultimately come to from all of that is, if you can solve complex or challenging problems that other people can't or don't want to solve, you will be paid extremely handsomely for those skills. Most certainly, right? If you can find that need that no one else is filling, right, and you can fill that need, you're in that position where you can virtually name your price. Because if you understand there's a problem the bigger the problem that needs to be solved, the greater the reward for providing the solution, right? Like, perfect example of I delivered boxes. Yeah, anyone can do it. Anyone can do that. As long as you're physically fit and healthy, you can pick things up and you can follow an address and drive from one place to the other. You don't even need that nowadays. You've got like a GPS system that tells you where to go. If you can type an address into a GPS system, you've got that job. Easy, right? But you're not going to be paid a lot. Whereas, think about something like, just and to take it to sort of extremes, like the people right now who are finding ways to remove all the rubbish in the ocean, right? Like, how much more of a bigger, huge, complex problem is that? And another word for problem is opportunity, right? So how much of an opportunity is that? And if you're the kind of person that can figure that problem out and solve that problem, it is worth far more than you can imagine to be the person that can take such a massive problem on a global scale and solve that and fix that. Of course you're going to be paid handsomely. It's a problem that the world needs fixed, right? So the greater the problem, the more complex, the more challenging, the less people want to do. If that ignites you and there's something there you can see that you have the solution, most certainly go after that thing. When you find that need and you feel that need, you will be quite comfortable for the rest of your life, I can promise you, right? And ultimately the question right now is how do you know what people are looking for, right? And the easiest way to do this is anyone who's ever started a business generally starts it because it's a problem they're experiencing in their life. And when they're looking for the solution, they realize no one's solving it, or no one's attempting to solve it, or the people that aren't doing it well. So they go out to solve their own problem. And more often than not, other people have the same problem you do, right? So when you are looking, how do I find a need? What are the things in your own life that what are the problems that require solutions? What are the things that are missing that you wish someone was solving for you? Start there, right? And now, and in the grand scheme of this too, you don't need to start with the biggest problem you can find that's the most challenging and almost seemingly impossible. Like, I'm not saying anyone here should just start with trying to solve global warming on their own, or cleaning the oceans, or colonizing Mars or something like that, right? Like, we're talking, that's like top of the spectrum, right? So if you can learn to identify problems that need solutions to find that need, start with the first one you find, right? And as you get better at it, as you learn to figure out or provide that solution, not only for yourself, but for other people that also have that same problem, you start to see your confidence grow because your competence grows. You build that skill and that capability. So let's say, I don't know, what's an example, right? Let's say I could look at, from my time as a truck driver, it's hard to, you can't speed the process of getting the boxes from point A to point B, right? There's speed limits, there's traffic, there's other things, right? But what if one of the problems I solved was enhancing the route efficiency, and I realized there was a better way to organize it, or perhaps a more efficient parcel structure, or a better sortation system that puts certain type, shape and parcels with certain drivers that allows their run to be 20% more efficient, and they can get those parcels out the door quicker, and the customers are happier for it, right? Like, this is just stuff off the top of my head, but when I was in that role, what were the problems I was facing, right? Like, look in your day job, whatever you're doing right now, or look around in your community. What are the things locally? It doesn't have to be, huge scale. As I say, global warming. Find the solution for that. What are the things? What are the needs? What are the opportunities that exist right within your realm, within your region where you are now? I guarantee there's always process improvements and better ways to do things. And when you start to see those needs, you can start to solve those problems, and then your value increases to the company, or your value increases in your ability to identify these opportunities, and you start seeing more of them. And then you're able to shape a business around that. You're able to create more opportunity. And ultimately, as I said at the beginning, the whole point is to be able to provide for your family and yourself and create that security. And that comes from having more resources than less resources, right? And the way to more resources is solve the complex problems that people don't want to do, or that people aren't doing well, right? That's the natural pathway. It's very easy when you get a little bit of guidance into where to look and what to look for, and then approaching those things, right? All of us, like if you, I'm certain anyone in any job that they've ever been in at some point in time has said this could be done better. I guarantee it. Every single one of you. I know almost every job I've ever been in, I've had ideas of this could be fixed, or this could be done better, or there's an easier way or a more efficient way, or why don't we try this? Right? Like that's what we do. Humans are creative. Humans look for ways. Like it's almost like this interesting balance of the laziness, the inherent laziness, drives innovation. So we don't have to work as hard or do things in the most difficult or challenging ways. We always continually trying to make things easier for ourselves, right? It just seems to be how we're wired, right? So when you've learned to do that, right, you know, especially as I work through my own journey of improving my skill set through learning sales and understanding how to listen to people better, how to identify what people are looking for, how to help guide people through excuse me, how to give people the support they need to find solutions to the problems that they're looking for, right? That's very big in my role right now, is understanding the landscape of what someone is experiencing in their business, and identifying how the solutions that we can provide to them make an impact or increase or improve their business or give them the benefits they're looking for, and help them on that journey, right? It's and because of that, you know, I've learned new skills as much as anyone else can. As I said, I was an apprentice chef. I worked in petrol stations. I drove trucks. I did furniture removal. Like I started like, you know, to me that like Domino is like super entry level, right? Like anyone else. Like if I can learn new skill sets, anyone can. It's just a matter of looking for opportunities and wanting better for yourself. And ultimately, like if you're here with me right now and you're watching this or you're listening to this, you're already that kind of person. You're here because you want better for yourself. So you're already the right mindset. You just got to put in the work and find the right process, the tools, the techniques, the principles that I'm sharing with you that help you to get there. Right? So when you start to learn those new skills, you become far more sought after, right? Because it shows initiative, right? You've gone out of your way in your own time, right? You're not just expecting the company to fund training for you. You're going and learning things you know that are going to improve your ability to solve these problems and provide greater value to not only your company or your employer, but if you run a business, to your customers. And when you do that, your income and ability to generate capital and wealth expands, you know, in proportion to that. And when you're able to do that, like, and this is most certainly the case for me, when I was able to increase my skill set into you know, like I wouldn't say, you know, necessarily a unique ability in sales, but refined and enhanced the way that I approach sales and how I look at driving a solution for a person rather than pitching them or selling them. I'm genuinely invested in that person's success and finding a way to solve their problems, and I go all out to do that for them. And now I'm paid handsomely for it. There's a big difference to what I used to earn compared to what I earn now. And you know, I'm enjoying it. It's fulfilling because I'm actually like beyond just being able to provide for my family. I'm satisfied in my role because I'm making a difference to people's businesses and people's lives and impacting them and helping them provide for their families. Right? It's this beautiful snowball. When you do that, it only feels better and you want to get better at it, and you do, and it all just accumulates and becomes more and more and more, right? So find that need, fill that need, right? That's the stepping stone. All you got to do, no matter if you feel you're stuck or limited, or you don't have opportunities where you are, you don't have money, or you can't go and pay to get a course or go to university or a college, forget that, right? Everyone has the same opportunity that you do. If you see a problem that can be solved and you can do it, or you know a way that's better, or you can do something someone else can't, that's your stepping stone, right? Find that need, fill that need, and I promise you will only improve and be rewarded for your efforts. All right, guys, as always, who could you become? This is what the entire Forever Better Academy is about, right? Becoming the best version of ourselves we can be, every day getting better and improving and seeing, our full potential, realizing it, right? And breaking through that ceiling and getting better again. All right? Thank you so much for being here with me. This is Wade Vincent, and as always, I will catch you next Friday for another episode. Until then, stay safe, work hard, and look after one another. All right, guys. See you later.